Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts One Piece Monkey D. Luffy. Now One Piece, if you're not familiar, is the name of an anime. That's it right there. It's not like One Piece, that's the name of it. It's not something like, we're not talking about a noun of some sort. Well, it is a noun, whatever. It's the name of the show. Anyway, this is the character. That's just some posing options, so let's take a look. This is the main character of a really popular anime. It's probably an anime that a lot of people aren't into, but I think if they gave it a chance they would be. I originally was not, but when I started watching it I got into it, so I figured I might as well buy some figures. They didn't make too many of them, so I figured why not, I'll just pick them up. So this is the main character, Luffy, or Monkey D. Luffy, just goes by Luffy most of the time. He stands just under 6 inches tall with the hat on, so he is relatively tall. And really my only complaint about this figure, sorry guys, excuse me, I'm still a little bit sick, but my only complaint about this figure is the way the hat fits on the head. They made an alternate head, as you can see. This is the regular head with the unkempt hair. Then they made a head that has like hat hair, but the only purpose of this head is to wear the hat. So they should have just made it so that it didn't look right with the hat off, but with the hat on, it did. But they didn't. They made the hair normal size so that the hat has to be way too big to fit on his head. So that's a little disappointing. I really wish they made the hat normal size instead of gigantic so that it would have looked right. But this is the alternate head. And the cool thing about it is, though, is that both heads have the removable hair, so you can interchange the faces, so you can swap out the faces on either head, even though this one will only be used with the hat. So we have a total of 2 normal faces, closed mouth faces. They're very, very similar. This one has eyes looking just a little bit up. This one has eyes looking just about forward. Maybe one has a little bit more of a smirk, but probably not so much. Then we have 3 other faces. One yelling face. And I'll just put them on the head so you can see what they look like. It's not so difficult. You just pull the hair off, pull the head out, 2 tabs and a peg. So this is the yelling face. He does that a lot. There's a lot of yelling on the show. It does take some getting used to before it's not irritating anymore. So there's the yelling face. And I have to say, the likeness is pretty spot on. It's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good. And then we have this smiling face. Another thing that's pretty common. This guy's really in a good mood a lot of the time. Kind of like Goku, very similar to Goku in his mentality. Always hungry, always happy, kind of clueless. And then this is the over animated, which is relatively common, open mouth, I'm gonna eat that face. And because of that, he comes with a piece of meat. He's always talking about meat, so they gave him an accessory for that, and an eating face. So let's go ahead and swap that back out. Let's put on the normal face for the sake of the review, and we'll go from there. The hair does snap on nicely, and it's well hidden in the sculpt, and I do like the way that looks. They did a pretty good job with the likeness. Alright, well, I should have showed you. The head is on a ball hinge above the neck. The neck is on a peg also, but the head itself is on a ball hinge, so really good range of motion, whatever you want to do. And it fits, it looks right, so that's good. He has 2 fist hands. One there and one there. Well, I'll say 2 for now, but there's kind of a third. And then 2 gripping hands, which would be good for the meat. I don't know what happened. I did not buy this guy new, and the person that I bought it from said it was in mint condition and it wasn't perfect, so it's a little disappointing. I've had some bad luck lately, but oh well. And then he's got 2 of these open hands for, I guess, karate chop. I don't remember him using this kind of hand too much in the show, but maybe he does, I don't remember. And you already saw the hat, and then he has 2 different vests actually too. He's got this vest, which is a soft material, not completely soft, but it's semi-flexible, all one piece, has some shading on it, the buttons are painted, so that's nice. Then he has this one, which snaps together, and you can't tell once it's together really, other than the shading's not 100% uniform. Hopefully you can tell, but that's just for a closed vest. And I guess they couldn't do that. They couldn't make it just kind of snap together in the front, so they have made it separate completely, and then you just slide it on over the 2 arms and snap it together, and he's got the closed vest then. But I don't know, to me it's not worth having even, because I'm just going to always keep him like this because it's just better composition for the character, and why bother interchanging them. So there's that, and then there's one last accessory, which is his Gum Gum Rocket Fist, which, if you don't know anything about the show, he ate a thing called a devil fruit, called the Gum Gum fruit, and it turned him into a rubber man, so he can stretch and enlarge parts of his body like this. So they gave him a big fist, and it's not completely solid, but it's mostly solid. It's not bendable or anything. It does just pop onto the arm there, just a standard little peg like that, but it's way too heavy for him. So what I would have to recommend, let's see if we can swap this out easily. I haven't even tried it yet. There we go, not so bad. Really glad that didn't break on camera. We'll talk about articulation in a minute, so let me just get this on there. Hopefully it'll snap on, and the person didn't sell me a bum figure. Seems to be on there. Alright, so like I said, it's way too heavy. So what I would suggest is you pose him on a flight stand punching, you know, maybe something like this, where he's in the air jumping and punching, and put the stand on the fist, because the fist can hold him up no problem, but he can't hold the fist up. So if you pose them appropriately, but then just put the stand on the fist, it wouldn't be a problem at all. So I'm assuming that's what they figured, or maybe they even figured you'd have the fist as the base. I don't know, whatever. It'll work as long as you just make sure you use the fist to hold him and then not him to hold the fist. But I do like that they included that accessory. It's really iconic for the show. And so, like, you know, put him on a base like that and have the base just right here, and it'll hold him up no problem at all. So that's really cool. And they did shade it, and it's sculpted well, so it's pretty nice. I'm glad they included that. It would have been nice if they included kind of a smaller one that had multiple fists, kind of like just out in the open, and that's because when he punches really fast, has something called a Gum Gum Gatling, where he punches a whole bunch of times, and that's a really cool move. So it would have been cool if they made an accessory for that, but it would have been difficult. So anyway, let's get back to the figure. There's lots of shading throughout all of the skin tones, so I appreciate that. There's a little bit of shading on the jeans. They painted the lower part of the jeans fairly well. The feet, not the best paint job in the world, but definitely good enough. And there is shading throughout, so they did a pretty good job with that. You already saw the head articulation. The shoulder articulation, kind of unique on this guy. This ball peg in here is actually a ball peg. It's not a little ball peg inside a cap, kind of like the Dragon Ball figures. What you see moving around is the actual peg that's just floating around in there. So that's actually pretty effective, and it's pretty cool. And it has the hinge for the regular ball hinge for the shoulder right on top of that. So that moves around on top of there, and it gives him a little bit better range of motion. Bicep swivel there. Single jointed elbow, a little bit better than 90. For a figure like this, though, I would have appreciated a better range of motion with a double hinge. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. Then we have just a standard ball hinge for the hands, or for the wrist, I'm sorry. Ball hinge, it swivels on both sides, and then we have the peg for the hands, so they have a little play on top of the hinge itself. So pretty good range of motion for the arms. Not perfect in the elbows, but pretty good. We have a diaphragm joint, probably a single peg for the upper part, and then a single peg for the lower part. Careful that the jeans don't rub on the torso too much. They do a little bit, but it's okay. I do like the sculpting on this guy. It's just cartoony enough to match the art in the show, but it is fairly organic. If you look at the musculature, it looks kind of good. They did a good job with it, so I'm happy about that. You get the swivel at the top of at the torso joint at the top and in the lower torso, so that's nice. He does have the standard SH Figuarts hips now, where it's a ball hinge or a ball peg that's hinged, so that you can drop the leg down out of the socket and then pose it to give it better range of motion. So that's nice. You can see that's just a ball peg, and then you can see that there's a cup around where it's connected, so you have a thigh swivel in there too. So really good range of motion for the hips. Looks good no matter how you pose it. Double jointed knees. It's not the best from the back, but they do give you a really good range of motion. Excuse me. So that's really good there. And the ankles, it's a little awkward that they keep using these strange ankle joints when the wrists work just fine as they are. I don't know why they can't use the same thing for the ankles. Having the metal pieces in there doesn't look that good. And they don't have the greatest range of motion in the ankles a lot of the time. They don't come far enough forward, but we do have the hinge, and it swivels at the top and at the bottom, so you can give him an ankle rocker if you want to. So it's fairly effective, it just could be better. And then we do have a toe hinge, but we have this thing that sticks out down there, so I don't know, it's really hard to pose him like that unless he's not actually going to be standing on his toe, so I don't know why they do that. But again, it is there. It's not great, but it's not horrible, so I'm not going to complain too much. It's just something to be aware of. So that's the figure, guys. It's a pretty darn good figure. It's not perfect, but if you are a One Piece fan or a Luffy fan, then I would suggest you get this figure. I really like it. It's not perfect, but like I said, it's pretty darn good. And I also recommend you take a look at One Piece. Give it some time to get used to it, because it is a little odd, little off the wall, but it's a pretty entertaining show, and a lot of the characters are really likable. I wish they would have made a Roa Noah Zoro figure, but they haven't yet, and I don't think they're going to. It's a little sad, but maybe they will, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.